Now, Congressman, 5th District, Conservative, Virginia, Republican, Robert Hurt. It's our honor to have you on, sir.
Thanks, John. So glad to be with you today.
Now, boy, we got so much to talk about, sir. So little time. I don't know where to start. Let's start with Bibi's speech tonight. President Obama not happy about it, saying that he didn't follow protocol, whatever. Senator Tim Kaine, much to my chagrin, not going to be there. What say you?
Well, I think it's very unfortunate that it has been politicized. I think a lot of that has been driven by the administration. I think that you have to look at the big picture. I mean, the administration is in the middle of negotiating a deal with Iran as it relates to the future of their nuclear program, and clearly the Obama administration wants to make a deal. There are those of us in Congress on both sides of the aisle and on both sides of the Capitol who think that we need to be very, very careful in this process, and are very skeptical that you're ever going to find a deal that is going to truly secure Israel's future and our future from a nuclear Iran. With all of that said, it strikes me as irresponsible not to welcome the Prime Minister of Israel, whoever it is, to come to this country and talk with us about the threats of a nuclear Iran. This is a man who is fighting for the existence of his country, and as we know, Israel has been a strong ally, our strongest ally in the Middle East, and I think that it's regrettable that the administration has taken this approach. I think it's regrettable that there are Democrats who refuse to even listen to the Prime Minister of Israel when he comes to this country. And so I'm looking forward to hearing his message. It's a message that we as policymakers, we are, as members of Congress, we're not only entitled to hear this, but we have a responsibility to hear this.
Congressman Hurt, and I agree with you, by the way, 100%. I think the Prime Minister of Israel comes in. You might not agree with Boehner's decision, or you might think, maybe the timing was bad. It is before an election. I can see that. So I think there's a place to say, hey, I think this was a bad idea. But I think you show up at the end of the day because I think there is a respect there. Certainly the Israeli government has shown a respect to us, like you said, Congressman Hurt, for being such a staunch ally. And I think by not being there, it only further politicizes the situation. I want to get to the actual Iranian negotiations. This is a treaty, right? I mean, doesn't this have to be sanctioned by the House members?
No. We have, as you will recall, we have offered, and really, so the way this, if you remember how this came about, there was a unilateral decision made by this administration to, as a part of an agreement, as with this P5+1 group of nations, to reduce the sanctions on Iran as an enticement to their coming to the table. Now, all evidence shows that these sanctions were working and that they were crushing the Iranians with our sanctions. And so what the president did said, well, we're going to lift or diminish those sanctions or let up a little bit as an inducement for them to come to the table. I don't know that there's any evidence that Iran is serious, is working in good faith, or that we can trust them in any way, shape, or form. They have indicated through their leaders that Israel is the little Satan, and the United States is the great Satan, and it is their policy that they wish to wipe Israel, wipe the United States off the face of the earth. And so it is, again, there are so many skeptics, and to your question, members of the House and the Senate, and I think that there's strong, and I think this is probably why the president is so defensive about this, there is probably a majority in both the House and the Senate to impose stricter sanctions on Iran and get back to where we were before these negotiations. And I'm completely in favor of that, and believe that we shouldn't let up one bit until we are sure on our own terms that the state of Iran has zero nuclear capability. And from my perspective, that doesn't mean allowing them nuclear capability for energy production or domestic use. Iran, we should not accept a position that allows Iran to have any nuclear capability, period, end of story.
The sanctions were working, right? Everybody knows that at the height of our sanctions, that was doing a definite harm to the Iranian
absolutely,
regime. Why did we stop them?
Because the president felt like that if we were apparently wanted an enticement to Iran to come to the quote negotiating table, where I think the president hopes and still hopes that there's going to be a deal. I read in the paper this morning. The Secretary of State says, we will take no deal before we take a bad deal. I hope that he's committed to that, but a lot of it also is in the definition of what is a bad deal in the administration's view.
Right.
And frankly, again, I think there's no one that has more at stake in all of this than the state of Israel.
Right.
And the state of Israel should in no way, shape, or form be controlling American policy. Nobody's advocating for that.
Right.
But by goodness, I mean, they are a strong ally. They do have more at stake than anybody, and we should welcome the Prime Minister of Israel, regardless of who it is, to Congress anytime. And going back to something that you said earlier, I'm sorry the president is upset by the sort of the protocol issue. But I think it's really important for the American people to remember that the president is not. He is our leader. He is the commander in chief of our military, but he's also an executive. He is our executive, and he works for the American people in the same way that the speaker works for the American people. And I think it's important to point out that under Article 1 and Article 2, in many respects, the Speaker is equally important and an equal constitutional partner, as is the President. And I think that's extremely important for people to remember. And so the Speaker has the absolute right to invite world leaders, and the President should be supportive.
Look, I think you absolutely hit the nail on the head. He is the executive. He does represent the people, and I think those senators and congressmen deciding to sit this out is a sideshow, and I think it's kind of beneath the office that they have, in my judgment. Congressman, I want to get to DHS funding. One of your colleagues on the other side of the aisle, Steny Hoyer from Maryland, yesterday telling the media, well, he expected a clean funding bill coming out of the House by John Boehner. Kind of the inference is, well, this deal's already been made. It's fait accompli. Now we've got reports of former Boehner operatives running a PAC, targeting conservatives with ads in Ohio, Kansas, other areas. What's the deal now with this?
I was very sorry that it appears that once again the senators across the Capitol have declined to meet in a conference. To me, it's unheard of. How in the world you could decline to meet in conference? I'm very concerned about the status of the Senate majority. I think the most frustrating thing for the people that I represent is they witnessed in November of last year, they witnessed a huge election in which the American people demanded a stop to the nonsense that Harry Reid was perpetrating and has been perpetrating over the last 4 years. And so you have an election. You have a tremendous change in power, and come to find out, and this is what makes my constituents mad, come to find out that, Harry Reid's still in charge. Harry Reid is still in charge in the Senate. We thought Mitch McConnell was a new Senate Majority Leader, but it turns out he's not.
Right.
It's Harry Reid. and the idea that we're going to have to endure another 2 years of recalcitrance, obfuscation, and total inability to function as a Congress, I think is very disappointing to people. Now on the DHS vote, I think very much that we need to fund the Department of Homeland Security, but the principles that are at stake are important, and it's not easy. But these are big issues, and we need to keep in mind that that we have a responsibility to pass laws, whether it's an appropriations bill or another or otherwise. We have to remember that we have a responsibility to the Constitution, and so and that's what the heart of the debate is. I don't know what's going to happen this week. I hope that the Speaker will keep the pressure up on the Senate, but the problem is, or a problem is that of course the White House has the bully pulpit, as do the members of the Senate, and of course I think that I think we all know sort of the general bias of the media.
Congressman Hurt, is it not outrageous that Minority Leader in the Senate, Harry Reid, will not allow the two competing pieces of legislation, one coming out of the House, one coming out of the Senate, that he has the authority to simply say, we're not taking this to conference, which is kind of the way the system works? Un-American,
undemocratic. The fact that that the Senate has a rule that does not allow the majority to govern, and there are those who say, "Oh well, it keeps bad things from happening." And my only response is, since when? I mean, they say, well, the cloture rule, the filibuster rule in the Senate is designed to keep bad things from happening and keeping the government from getting too big. Seriously? We've borrowed, we spend $4 trillion a year. We've borrowed 18, and we have $100 trillion in unfunded liabilities. Since when has any Senate rule prevented large government and bad things from happening? The bottom line is the American people want to see results, and they made a loud and clear message that Harry Reid and the remaining Democrats didn't get. They didn't receive it apparently, and so I really do urge people to contact their their senators to encourage them to abandon this undemocratic cloture rule. It's just ridiculous. Elections have consequences, and we don't need to be standing in the way of the American people and what they demand.
Congressman, you're right. Your colleague Morgan Griffith on Friday said the same thing. They need to abandon that. And, the Republicans might be in the minority one day or someday or whatever day, but you got to let the chips fall where they may.
And John, if we are in the minority someday, it will be because the American people put us there.
Right, you're right.
And at the end of the day, that's who's in charge. It's not the institution of the Senate. That's not that. That is totally, I think, antithetical to the fundamental principles of our country.
Congressman Robert Hurt, 5th District, Republican, Southwest Virginia, sir. That's going to be the final word.